Hello, dear friends. Ancient legends contain much truth if interpreted as symbolic allegories, not literally. Opinion piece. The Fire of Sanvartaka, the solar flash according to the Vedas. It is also called the Shamesh fire. Shamash was the god of the sun in Babylon. Hopi say it has repeated itself other times. Humankind is under pressure to elevate itself. Let's start. The Vedas say that when the Sanvartaka fire comes, rainbow-colored clouds will appear around the earth and people will get their rainbow body, known as the spirit light body. Sanvartaka is a Sanskrit word meaning to roll up or destroy by fire. It is to say, the end of the world, which is the beginning of another world. According to Krishna's Srimad Bhagavatam, the clouds called Sanvartaka will pour down elephantine rains for 100 years and all dense bodies will emerge. The Mayan calendar end date of 2012, originally announced by José Argüelles in the early 90s, didn't fail as some might think. It marked a significant cosmological turning point, which was easy to misinterpret and simplistically imagine would manifest as a moment of instantaneous global transformation. The end of the Mayan calendar signaled the end of one epoch and the subsequent beginning of another one, signifying an opportunity for humankind to chart a new path and break free from the past. Since 2012, the path towards this fulcrum in time has intensified, characterized by a war against consciousness, generating an increasingly oppressive and toxic psychic environment worldwide. Humankind is under pressure to expand its perception of reality, a process that involves a cathartic rupture as the realities around us crumble, and we are freed from an unconscious straitjacket placed over the mind. The Hopi tells us that the story of the end times has been repeated many times, and they have predicted where we will end up if we do not change course immediately. A prophecy from ancient Egypt speaks of a descent of or fall in human consciousness characterized by an increasing greed, corruption, exploitation, irreverence, materialism, and suffering, to be followed by a return to the light originating primarily from higher cosmic forces, causing a shift in consciousness and a realignment with natural spiritual laws and right and upright conduct. Storm. In Hinduism and Jainism, Sanvartaka is a divine force or power normally used by the deity Indra. Described as a cloud of energy or fire, the force is used to destroy or strip away that which displeases Indra. The force is referred to in Hindu and Jain texts. Sanvartaka is also strongly associated with comets. However, some texts describe the force as being exerted by deities other than Indra. In Jainism, Sanvartaka Vayu is stormy air that causes the demolition of a mountain. At the time of the catastrophe, the wind that pulverized the mountain lasted for 7 days. When Krishna was living in Vrindavan, one day he saw that his father, along with the elders, was preparing a sacrifice to please the king of heaven, Indra. His father, Nanda, said to him, in quotes, "As the rain is due to Indra's mercy, and the clouds are controlled by him, and as water is so important for life, we owe gratitude to the controller of this rain, Indradeva." But Krishna replied that it was better to give that gratitude to the hill of Govardhana, who is one who provided them with all kinds of fruits, trees, mountains, and rivers. His father was convinced and accepted his proposal. They prepared a great feast with offerings of very tasty food made with cereals, milk, sweets, everything in abundance. They decorated themselves with the best clothes, decorated the cows, and began to walk around the hill of Govardhana. When the king and controller of heaven, Indra, saw that the offerings had not been made to him, he became angry and vented his fury against the inhabitants of Vrindavan. He ordered the Sanvartaka cloud and its companions to go to Vrindavan and devastate everything they found. Thus, they began to pour water incessantly with all their power and might. There was intense lightning and thunder. The wind blew and the rain fell incessantly like sharp, piercing arrows. Protection. Immediately, Krishna thought of giving protection to his devotees, who depended entirely on his mercy. In quotes, "With my mystic power, I will counteract this disturbance caused by Indra." Having said this, he lifted the hill of Govardhana with the little finger of his left hand and held it just as a child picks a mushroom from the ground. The inhabitants of Vrindavan remained there for a week, undisturbed by hunger, thirst, or any other discomfort. They were simply astonished to see how Krishna held the mountain with his little finger. When Indra realized his mistake, the rains stopped. Everyone approached Krishna and embraced him with great ecstasy. The gopis, or shepherdesses, being very affectionate with Krishna, Giridhari, began to offer him curd mixed with their loving tears and blessed him again and again. In the heavens, different demigods exhibited their total satisfaction by showering showers of flowers on the earth. They all returned home singing the glorious pastime of Lord Krishna, with great loving feelings in their hearts. In his hands he arranges his small flute made of bamboo. He expertly throws into the air 5 musical notes that disturb the hearts of the gopis, and also the souls of those who sincerely seek him. These gopis are the shepherdesses who drink their own respective names through their ears, so that when they hear his sweet melody, their hearts search for the origin of this love-filled sound. Gopal calls with his flute to the souls, entering as a thief through their ears, steals the impediments that disturb them, and makes a nest there so that no one else enters that heart. Thus Gopal saves his beloved souls. This was chanted thus: Yamuna Tira Vihari Brindavana Sanchari, Govardhana Giridhari, Gopala Krishna Murari. Script: Yamuna Tira Vihari, Brindavana Sanchari, Govardhana Giridhari, Gopala Krishna Murari. Comets. In the works of Garga, an influential Vedic sage in ancient India, Sanvartaka is described as a devastating energetic force that will arrive as one of two comets. In the words of the sage, like the star wheel spinning in the sky, the comet wheel also repeats itself in the sky. At the end of the 1,000 years, at the end of a strand of comets, two comets, Duma and Sanvartaka, appear together. Garga writes that these twin comets will cause earthquakes and meteor showers that will split mountains and oceans. He notes that Sanvartaka will be the more devastating of the two, as it will be responsible for shrinking the world. Another Vedic text also refers to Sanvartaka as a comet. In this text, the comet appears and grows so large that it occupies 1/3 of the sky. It is described as having a slender and terrible copper-colored head in the shape of a spear, sweeping out a jet of smoke. As the comet hovers over the world, the kings are projected to fight among themselves. Other traditions. Shamash was the sun god in Babylonia and Assyria. Temples to Shamash were erected in all the great centers, such as Babylon, Ur, Nippur, and Nineveh. In Mesopotamian mythology, Shamash, Utu to the Sumerians, was the holder of justice. He was especially worshipped in Sippar and Larsa. The Akkadians and Babylonians considered Shamash the son of Anu, or at other times of Enlil. During the Sumerian period, he was considered the son of Nanar and Ningal, and brother of Inanna and Iskur. The Akkadian period, he was, along with Sin and Ishtar, members of the triad of gods. The attribute most commonly associated with Shamash is justice. Just as the sun scatters darkness, Shamash brings evil and injustice to light. Hammurabi credits Shamash with inspiration that led him to write down in a code the existing laws and legal procedures, and in the drawing accompanying the code, King Hammurabi depicts himself in an attitude of worship before Shamash as the embodiment of the ideal of justice. In the Jewish tradition, the Shamash or Shamus is the auxiliary candle. It is the 9th candle of the Hanukkah menorah. It is lit before the prayers are said and the other candles are lit. The Shamash always stands out from the other candles. It usually stands out because of the spacing. Reset news. First, it is time for the victory of darkness over light with the alignment of 4 planets: Mars, Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. From Sunday 17 to Sunday 24, the alignment of these 4 planets could be appreciated, with the moon also present on St. George's Day. On June 24th, the spectacle will be even greater, or has been. Until early July, the planetary alignment will involve Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Second, We are heading for the greatest economic crisis of the 21st century. We are in for the storm of the century with inflation, shortages, job losses, and market crashes. Third, Venezuela and Iraq are two laggard countries in the hands of entrenched cartels. ISO 20022 makes hidden and protected wealth accessible. Incredible assets hidden and protected for thousands of years, only to come to light this moment in history. According to all channels, it doesn't matter if these nations are unable or unwilling to cooperate under the new financial system. No matter what, the QFS will have a verified and qualified valuation in its new currency value to manage international trade on the world stage. 5. Message from Ranra. There has been some controversy over where Donald Trump is a white, grey or black hat. The important thing is not to be divided over it, but to be united and effective in bringing heaven to earth. If Mr. Trump is a white hat, he will do exactly the same. That is, he will do everything he can to manifest heaven on earth as quickly as possible, in alignment with the greatest benefit to all that is. But if he were a grey or black hat, he would have the choice to become white hat or leave. As no grey or black hat could coexist with the very high frequency of divine love. It's incompatible. Opinions. First, Puffness said, there is a movement at this time to catch all the thieves by luring them out. The effort is to stop the train of money being sent out. Efforts to stop trusts from being emptied are a big deal. There has been a huge loss of trusts by those who can pull the lever. Second, according to Benjamin Fulford, the G7 regimes are doomed. The reason is economic. They made the fundamental mistake of thinking that the numbers in the computers of the financial institutions were real and not imaginary. That's why, for the first time, the G20 finance ministers didn't issue a statement after meeting last week. If they had been honest, they would have declared bankruptcy. Third, IMF head Kristalina Georgieva came close to admitting it at the meeting when she said, in quotes, "We print too much money and don't think about the unintended consequences. We are acting like 8-year-olds playing soccer and chasing a ball." Anglo-Saxon nations used to have the respect of the world because they stood for democracy, human rights, competent economic management, etc. People are no longer afraid of the elites, and so the game is over. 4. Testimonial from Stefan. I had a client in my Uber job, which I do after my exit from the corporate world, who works for a major bank here in Romania. I told her about QFS and that we are switching to a new financial system. She confirmed to me that everything is fine. She made a business trip to London a few weeks ago and said that the UK government is working on legislation to implement a digital asset naming system that will be launched very soon. I think it's ready to launch, but they just can't tell everyone everything. I think that's related to the collaboration of the Ripple Foundation and UK pound, UK government project based on XRP ledger. He also confirmed that these changes will be coming very soon, within the next couple of months. Intelligence. First, it's the storm of the century where the news is fake, but the war is very real. Second, having cash in the monetary system is vital to keep wealth stabilized. Third, white hat intelligence. No one is telling the truth. Saudi Arabia is almost out of oil. Russia is running out of natural gas. Investors were also lied to. Big companies don't know how to break the news, and they don't want to lose investors. The mainstream media is staying away from this news. 4. According to James Howard Kanstler, the next impact will be the absolutely predictable crash in global financial markets, which started last Friday and looks to gain momentum this week. 5. You are in for a shock. Inflation, shortages, job losses, people leaving their jobs, military leaving, firefighters, police, nurses laid off or leaving, cargo around the world stagnant, microchip shortages. To stop production of 2022 products, TVs, phones, automobiles, smart appliances, military production, private and commercial flight production, etc. This is the reason of why ISO 20022 and Basel III are being implemented and are very important, forcing massive transparency of the path cash has taken puts an end to any possibility of money laundering. Ultimately, it puts an end to the possibility of criminal activity. 7. Europe will implement a Digital Services Act that requires social networking platforms to police their platforms more aggressively. 8. What an incredible time this is. 9. What should we the people do? The only way I see this happening is through continued public exposure of corruption until the 100th monkey is reached, according to the 100th monkey theory. Economy. First, the stock market falls as the price of oil falls. Second, the price of gas rises in Europe as the wind speed drops. Third, Lagarde sees an end to ECB debt purchases at the start of the third quarter. Fourth, Europe heads for further declines as volatility grows. 5. The European Union moves closer to a new law that will put limits on technology companies. 6. War is accelerating the world's addiction to coal. 7. Big oil executives dump millions of dollars in stock. 8. Saudi royals are selling off homes, yachts, and artwork as the crown prince cuts his income. 9. Mortgage rates rise for the 7th week in a row. 10. Fed rate hike could be even worse than feared. 11. The Standard & Poor's 500 will fall sharply and join an ongoing bear market, warns Morgan Stanley. Markets. First, Elon Musk buys Twitter for $44 billion. Second, Elon Musk has suggested that physical assets are ideal for investing when inflation is high, but he's not selling his cryptocurrency. Third, Alibaba shares fall to their lowest level in 6 years. 4. Peter Schiff's comments. Jerome Powell triggers a market sell-off after his comments at the IMF roundtable. Bitcoin will collapse hard once it's dumped by Paul Tudor Jones. Elon Musk's Twitter funding is dangerous for Tesla's stock. 5. BlackRock Vanguard owns the financial world. Precious metals. First, gold prices slide toward the 1,900 a troy ounce level. Second, gold price settles at 2-month low as investors shun the metal in search of more attractive safe havens. Third, wasn't gold supposed to be the best hedge against inflation? Cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is stuck. Prices are falling. Online searches for the largest cryptocurrency and other digital assets have slowed. Fewer and fewer coins are changing hands, and cryptocurrency-related funds are experiencing massive outflows. Second, Dogecoin rises nearly 9% amid reports that Twitter will accept Musk's takeover offer. Third, the biggest secret of the 21st century, how tweaking the blockchain ledger yields untold wealth for elites. The biggest secret of the century is that earthly quantum computers are being used to manipulate the financial system. According to Dr. Wisdom Wu, a Chinese scientific defector. Spain and America. Spain commemorates the arrival of the printing press 550 years ago. Second, Governor of New Mexico declares a state of emergency due to forest fires. Third, diesel spill in the Galapagos Islands when a tourist boat wrecked. Supply crisis. First, China's economic chaos forces British companies to reshape supply chains. Second, the CCP is the biggest cyber and counterintelligence threat, according to the FBI director. Third, the world is under siege. Fertilizers shortages, port bottlenecks, and massive damage to food processing facilities. 4. Rockefeller Foundation President Rajiv Shah said, in quotes, a massive and immediate food crisis is looming, which could begin within the next 6 months. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.